Welcome back to part 2 of reading Percy Jackson Senior Adventures, Chalice of the Gods. I'm very excited to get back to it. It's been about a week since I read it. I remember that we ended off in Yonkers, and what happened last? Anyway, Percy went to Yonkers, but he didn't have the staff, so he couldn't go to the lake. And then Grover and Annabeth came with him. Then they had to go through grass, and Grover called them saying that he needed help. I think that's where we ended off. But let's not have too much of a long introduction. Let's just get straight into the reading. Find someone who loves you the way my girlfriend pushes me off a cliff. The bad thing is they fall off cliffs all the time. So they've definitely got pretty good skills on that department. She said bon voyage. Well, she did it. It would be rude to spit underwater. I'm glad Percy has manners. But since he said he doesn't spit underwater, does that mean he spits when he's above water? Well, Percy is a rule breaker, so it does make sense he would break all the rules. It is funny that the god is giving Percy sarcasm because Percy is the king of sarcasm. I love their relationship because we always hear Annabeth say like, oh, if you know, then I'm gonna go to the underworld and yell at you and stuff. And then Percy's like, well, if I here, then at least I can tease Annabeth about pushing me off a cliff. I personally don't remember Percy cleaning the Hudson and East rivers. I remember him talking to those gods and that he like broke a sand dollar to clean it, but I don't think he has any sand dollars right now. Okay, drowning him, probably not gonna end him, but slamming him into rocks definitely will. Kind of like Hulk, except with plumbing. Yeah, those sound like completely hypothetical examples, Percy. He just exploded the river. Meanwhile, Percy's frantic, being like, oh, maybe I just washed my girlfriend out into sea. And she's just talking with the god, with her legs crossed and applesauce, just chilling. He's playing Beatles Help. Okay, Grover's definitely not subtle with his signs. Well, Percy's just getting pummeled. She's just drinking tea. I'm trying to remember what bonsoir means. Man, I took a French class, but apparently I don't remember. Good something. Bonsoir. We love when Percy becomes the target. It's funny to imagine Percy just skipping. Zeus zapped his kite? Okay, now that's just mean. Grover, you can't just stop on the Y of YMCA. I'm glad he planned to trip on the rock, and that wasn't just an accident. Well, at least if you're gonna get eaten, you might as well have fun with it. See, his love for Annabeth can get him out of even the trickiest situations. Telling Annabeth you love her is the perfect message. Okay, apparently the rainbow does not taste good or smell good. Good to know. Aw, seaweed brain. I'm glad Grover got some love in this scene too. The staff's name is Mercedes. Of course she's apologizing to the staff and not the demigods who helped her. At least she did actually get the information for where the cup is. But it's probably going to be a very dangerous spot because that's where Percy always ends up going. Gary. He goes by the name Gary. I've actually never seen SpongeBob SquarePants. Sounds like very special nectar. There's always a price, isn't there? $5? $5 for that nectar? Okay, either Iris doesn't understand mortal money or it's just not that valuable. But I'm gonna go with the first option. Naturally, Annabeth carries cash. Apparently Grover did have a good time with Blanche because now he can't stop talking about it. Yes, Grover, we think Juniper is jealous. What's so bad about dating a demigod, Grover? True, I think his dad, the Olympians, and Zeus are definitely the last ones to go to for relationship advice. Though Zeus is probably the last of the bunch. Yeah, Garon, we don't want to see him. We've already done that. We don't need that again. Honestly, Percy's actually giving pretty good dating advice. I'm with Percy. 6:30 is too early. I love Annabeth and Sally's relationship. It's so cute. True, there's no better mother-in-law than Sally Jackson Blowfist. I'm glad that the blue food is just between Percy and Sally because it is very sentimental to them. Part of me is wondering if the reason Paul's acting so weird is because maybe Sally's pregnant with Estelle. Maybe. Because that's the only reason I could think why Paul would be nervous around Percy. Sally's not drinking wine. I knew it. She's pregnant. I love that we get to see this moment because it's so cute. Of course, it's her and Paul, Percy. What do you think? She's back with Poseidon or something? It is sad that he basically has to leave right when the baby's born. But at least he gets to have some moments with her, and then he can always come back. True, I think Percy might be wishing to clean some stables instead of some dirty diapers. I kind of hope she does try to flush him, because that would be really funny to see Percy steal her candy and run away laughing. I don't know who Gary is, but he has to be like a god that we've heard of. Probably? I don't know. Part of me thinks he's a god we've heard of. And the only one I could think that maybe would be mad at Ganymede that we know of, maybe it's Zeus, just because he might. Maybe Ganymede accidentally poured him a wrong drink one time, and so he's like, well, to punish you for that, I'm going to steal your cup. But I don't really know about that. That's all I can think of at this moment. True, when it's lunchtime, it's time to eat, not to update some gods. I wonder if the gods do have any social media accounts, because I'm sure they would have a lot of character on those. Percy went to a library. Okay, maybe he did really hit his head very hard on those rocks. True, librarians are some of the best people. I love that he's like, I wrote one sentence. Okay, I wrote half a sentence. True, it does suck that Ganymede didn't really have a choice in becoming a god. That Zeus was like, hey, you're pretty, I'm just gonna make you one, and you're gonna be my little servant for the rest of time. He's having a dream that all the gods are pregnant and just having dinner with him. I love that Annabeth is just breaking into his room because that is their relationship. Percy can quote Shakespeare. Correction, he can quote SparkNotes. Okay, Poseidon with a baby bump? No, thank you. I do not want that image in my head. Percy, you most definitely have crusty saliva on your chin. I did not know that nectar means overcoming death, so that's pretty cool. But I'm with Percy. I would much rather go back to sleep than talk about rocks and trees. A whiff of it can put you in a coma. I love that every time Annabeth wakes Percy up in the middle of the night, she's always like, dude, you need to brush your teeth. It took him 31 minutes to get ready. So I guess Annabeth is right that it does take him quite a while. Mouth-to-mouth recitation by a koala. Percy definitely has a few very interesting descriptions. The droplets split into 3 different directions. Are there 3 Garys? Splitting up is a terrible idea. But of course, they're gonna do that. Dude, put some clothes on. What is it with all these gods just wearing loincloths? I know it was, at the time, what people wore, but we're in the 21st century. Yeah, an old guy in a diaper watching you is definitely not creepy. Geras. Oh my gosh, for a second when they were talking about him just like summoning the chalice in his hand, I thought he was summoning a cremation jar. Definitely very different. Percy's smart too, in his own unique way. Percy has a Mickey Mouse voice. True. The answer is always Hercules. Wrestling. Hopefully there's a fountain nearby. I think there is a fountain nearby, which would definitely give Percy the upper hand in this fight. And with that being said, it is way late, so I'm gonna read the rest of the book tomorrow. Okay guys, we are on what should be the last day of reading Percy Jackson and the Chalice of the Gods. I'm very excited to get into it. I did want to show you, I was cleaning off my dresser and I found this little bookmark that my friend Isabel made for me back in middle school. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Percy and Annabeth right before Tartarus and everything like that. And so I just want to show you. I wish I had found this earlier to put in this book while I was reading it, but I can just put it in the Wrath of the Triple Goddess just for safekeeping. That way I know where it is. So next time I read Percy Jackson, I can actually use the bookmark. So we left off on, it's not Gertrude. What is his name? Guitar? It's not Guitar. Okay, well they call him Gary, but that's not his real name. What is his real name? Geras. That's right. But we're just gonna call him Gary. So we left off on that with him wanting to wrestle Percy. So excited to see how that goes. I know Percy has wrestled gods before, like in Titan's Curse. He wrestled, what's his name? Well, of course it's a Greek god, but that ocean god that can turn into multiple different animals, which is also in the Odyssey, which is pretty fun because Agamemnon wrestles him, so that's pretty fun. Anywho, so we're at that. I do just want to say I wish there had been more hints to Gary and Geras being the big bad guy, just because I like personally when I'm reading to be able to guess who the person is. Maybe they said his name before, I don't know, but especially since he's such a lesser known god, like it's harder to guess that that's him. I mean, it's obvious that Iris and Hebe aren't going to be the big bad because that's too on the nose, but I do wish there was a bit more foundation for guessing who the big bad was. That's the one thing I loved about the first Percy Jackson, was finding out the big bad was Ares and everything, and I felt like there was a lot of hints to that. I didn't get it because I was in middle school and I had a middle school mind, and so I didn't think too much about it, but I do wish there was a bit more hints towards it. Maybe there was, maybe I just didn't catch them, but I just wanted to say that. Anyways, let's get on to the wrestling. Percy knows about the picture of Dorian Gray. I love that book. That is one of my favorite books. Oh, I love Dorian Gray. I don't love him as a person. I love the book Dorian Gray, not the character. He's a terrible, terrible human being. But the character, Oscar Wilde knew what he was doing there. Percy is a master of procrastination. True, even though the gods have lived for centuries, they never change. And they have a lot of problems that they should probably go to therapy for. True, it is a little weird whenever she calls him Percy instead of Seaweed Brain. But this is a very serious matter, not a joking one. A pistachio donut. I personally don't like donuts, but that does sound tasty. Okay, that was a quick attack. Old man's got some moves. Ugh, face to the armpit. That's just gross. Okay, Grover, I'm glad you know how important exercise is, but that's probably not the best comment to make in the scenario that one of your best friends is probably not going to be here anymore. He uses all the anger and just a manhole cover explodes with water. That's not going to help this wrestling match. I love how every chance that Percy has a break, he's like, okay, I need to think of a plan. And that's all he thinks about before he gets attacked again. True, there's either not being here or getting older. And I would definitely take getting older any day. Just hug Gary. You know, the best way to deal with old age is to just embrace it, apparently, because then you won't be hurt by it. I like how we got the whole kids scene with the three of them, and now that we're getting like this imagined old version of them, it's just a nice full circle. I love you, bro. Expect the unexpected, apparently. Yeah, I'd freeze too if I was wrestling somebody and they're just like, hey dude, I know we're fighting, but let's just hug and love each other. True, you weren't throwing each other, Percy. He was throwing you. Okay, so they have the chalice now, but we still have like 50 pages left. Ganymede's symbol is a hula hoop. Yeah, that definitely doesn't make his abduction less creepy. Zeus's mom is over for brunch. Nice, lovely, godly family get-together. Hey, croque-monsieurs are pretty good. Personally, I like brunch, so something me and Percy do not agree on. She gave him her invisibility cap. Okay, yeah, that does not happen. True, it would be so weird if Percy gave Riptide to another demigod to use. That would be a little unsettling. Shaving a haircut, I love that knock. Oh, we do it all the time in my family, and my sister is literally like a Looney Tune because she always has to finish it. Grover can hula hoop. I don't know if Ganymede's gonna be exactly happy with Grover using it. Brunch at 8 in the morning? That is not brunch. That is breakfast. I wonder if the reason the cap's burning Percy is because he's a son of Poseidon, and I don't think Athena would be very happy that he's using her gift. Of course, even Mount Olympus has pigeons. You can't get away from those birds. I'm a friend of Maron. No, Maron doesn't have friends. That's funny. True, the gods like doing things the hard way, and unless it's getting back their magical items, then they leave that to the demigods. True, Z does look just like a lightning bolt, which is a pretty fun coincidence. Or is it a coincidence? Ganymede is literally sweating Greek fire. I didn't know the gods could do that. Percy faces a dangerous predator, who is his future mother-in-law. I'm gonna guess that's Athena. Barbara wants to meet Annabeth. To be honest, I would want that too. While Percy has sarcasm and procrastination, apparently Zeus has narcissism. Athena's staring at him. It's not a conversation between Percy and Athena if she's not questioning why her daughter is dating him. Athena has definitely earned her role of wisdom goddess. And at least she's actually helping Percy instead of, doing the exact opposite. Zeus, you like watching him walk away? That's kind of gross. It's a blank piece of paper? That was not in the rules that Percy gave. Interesting, so Percy has to say what he thinks Ganymede would say about his performance, instead of Ganymede just taking the time out of his day when he's an immortal and has all the time in the world. True, nothing is scarier than watching somebody struggle and not being able to do anything to help them. Like, if my sister was struggling and I couldn't go help her, that would be true torture. Meanwhile, Percy's giving this whole, like, yes, I was imagining us all old and having a grand old time. And Grover's like, what were we eating for lunch? Because let's be honest, that's Grover's main concern. Yeah, taking the F train to school, probably not the best thing. Poseidon called his school to excuse his tardy. True, Percy's definitely been in way worse situations. It's very weird for Poseidon to be calling his school. Aw, Poseidon thinks he's a true hero. That's so sweet. I love this conversation between Percy and Poseidon. It's so nice because they don't have the best relationship, so it's nice whenever Poseidon actually is a dad. And so just hearing how much Poseidon truly thinks and cares for Percy, even in his own unique way as a god, it is still sweet. Okay, if Poseidon's flirting with Margaret, we might be having another Poseidon child very soon. So Percy has to do these 3 quests and then write an essay. His work is never done. Percy, I think you're going to need a lot more than nice paper to get an A on an English paper. We all know Percy's not going to take a yellow or a green candy when there's a blue one available. However, I would take the yellow or green because those are my favorite. And true, being told that you're like Sally is definitely one of the best things that you can say. Okay, Percy's definitely not starting this essay on a very good footing. I think if his recommendation letter had, he's adorable and has nice eyes, they would definitely be a little confused and know that Gamey did not write that. I love how unserious they are while they're trying to sound like the gods. Because let's be honest, that's kind of how the gods sound. Okay, if the letter ended with hugs and kisses, that would be iconic. So apparently when Annabeth wears the cap, it gets a little bit itchy. I did not know that. Annabeth is definitely very serious about her seaweed brain, and I'm glad Athena's starting to notice. Sometimes Percy's sweet all the time. Aw, okay, that was a perfect ending. It was so sweet and cute. I loved it so much. I really liked how nostalgic this book was. I mean, there was a whole literal chapter about nostalgia, but I still liked how it went back to the original 3, and Rick definitely knows what he's doing with those 3, and I love it so much. It's so cute. And with that being said, after reading this, I'm definitely really excited to read the second one, Wrath of the Triple Goddess, because if the first one's good, hopefully the second one will be just as good. With that being said, if you want me to do a reaction to this one, put that down in the comments below. I would happily do that for you if you want. I don't think there's anything else. Thank you so much for watching this video and having a good time with me. I love Percy Jackson, and it was definitely really fun to be reading this. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!